back to another episode of our little podcast. This is Clara, I'm Nani. As you know, if you have listened to another or watched another episode before. And this time we are going to talk about our Land Girl event outfits we made as a group. We talked a little bit about it last time, but we thought about talking more about it right now so that you know what's it all about. So, do you want to start with?
Okay, so let's talk about the event first. So it's the Epochenfest, which we're from Germany, so it's a German word for a sort of a rent fair, but with different groups coming from all kinds of directions and interests. So there are a lot of groups reenacting different eras in history. And as a group, we had the idea to go as land girls because we liked the shape of the trousers and the green jumpers. So we decided to make group outfits. And we did go to the event, but not as a camp. We didn't stay there. We just went as visitors.
Yeah. Because there were some groups which also represented mostly First World War and also the Allied side of the Second World War.
Obviously.
So, yeah, and the Land Girls just fit in somewhere in between that all because Land Girls were present in Great Britain from the First World War till I think 5 years after the Second World War, or a couple of years after the Second World War. Then they were discharged. But technically, the Land Girls Army never was a part of the army, which I learned while doing some research. Actually, that's your book, but and I found that really interesting, and that's also why there's the name Cinderella Army, because the Land Girls didn't get as much of recognition in a financial sense. While, for example, the women who worked for the Air Force, they got repaid enough to live a little bit from it, but the Land Girls didn't even get as much as they paid for their own uniform. So there was no balance in that. But on the other hand, many Land Girls or women who talked about it in their older years all said, or most of them said that the time as a land girl was the best time of their life. And that's for me also a reason why I wanted to reenact this part of history, because it gave women freedom to work for themselves, to drive cars or tractors at the time, which wasn't a thing women were allowed to do. And overall, this spirit of freedom and self, I don't know the English word for it, so that you can just do things for yourself and don't have to have a husband or a father or a brother at your side. And yeah, that's what, for me, the silhouette or this outfit of the land girl represents, and I identify with that idea. So yeah, that's why I joined that group, because Clara and a friend had the idea first and asked me if I wanted to join, and I gladly did so.
Yeah. Okay, so we want to break down our outfits. We're going to show you some pictures here and then break down every single part of the outfits, because some of them were bought, most of them were self-made. So let's start with the hair, maybe. What I did is very simple. I used a very simple headband that I had. I didn't want to buy a new one, but I had this one, and then I folded it like this, put it around my hair, and then I had curls in my hair the night before, like foam rollers, I mean. And then, yeah, I did my hair in a very simple way. I'm not the best at doing my hair, so I did struggle a bit, but it was good enough, I'd say. What about you?
I mean, I can't do the typical 1940s hairstyle because my hair is just way too long. I don't do curls with them. So I took a strip of fabric and sewed a headband too, which I tied around the head and then used my braids as milkmaid braids and hid them a little bit behind the headband, and that was technically, I think I had a little bit of a roll up here too, so that it looked a little bit 1940s ish. And yeah, so I hid that I don't have the classical typical haircut for that. And
it looked very nice.
Thank you. It was also really practical because at the day it was rather warm. It was not hot but warm, and not having the hair on my body is really comfortable. So yeah. And then a layer lower we wear blouses, war blouses. I sewed one the night before because we started rather early to sew our garments or knit them.
We decided, I think, 3 months before, and 2 months before we really started with making the outfits.
Yeah. And I think a month before the event, I already had finished everything I really needed to make the outfit look correct. And the whole time I wanted to make a blouse, but I told myself that it's too much work and I can't do it. And the day before I decided, whatever, I can do that. So I finished it. I started the mock-up way earlier because I had really trouble making it fit to my body. It was a pattern from Weldon's from 1941 or 1942, I guess. It is a especially made pattern from British pattern to save fabric.
Okay.
And in the end, I used only 1 meter of fabric. Somebody smaller would use obviously less than that. And the pattern in the original was also for smaller bust size. And anyway, at some point I figured out how to make it, and it's actually a really fun pattern. In the original, it's only 1 body piece, so it would have been front and back in 1 piece. I decided to add a side seam in order to make it more flattering on my body and to accommodate my waist and hip measurements. I really like the sleeve details with these tiny darts, these 3 tiny darts, and also that the darts are the other way around at the bottom. So you have the thicker part at the waistline and the thinner part at the hem.
Which is at your hip.
Yeah. And so you get these folds at the waistline, and then it opens up to the width of the bust. And yeah, other than that, there is also the collar a little bit different than usual because it doesn't has how is it for you called? How is it called? A collar stand?
In English, yeah, I think.
Okay. So you only have these 2 pieces here, and usually you would have this collar stand underneath, and so this to it. In this case, we have these rectangles which are sewn directly to the blouse, and then a tape inside to finish the raw edges or hide them technically. In the beginning, I thought it wouldn't sit well, but after wearing it, it really lays down, or it lays flat on the body, and then it looks really great actually. Yeah, so that's my blouse. Rather simple, but not simple.
It always looks simple, but it isn't in the end.
Exactly.
So what did you do to accommodate the pattern to your body measurements? Did you use a 3D simulation, or what did you do?
In this case, I didn't use it because, well, I tried it and realized that already the shoulder pieces are way too big. I took out these shoulder pieces, or I reduced them by almost half the width.
Really?
They were huge.
Okay.
Like in the original, it was also almost like that, and now the seam is here, so it was huge. And I realized that in the 3D pattern and decided, okay, I have to change that much. I want to see it first on my physical mannequin. Then this didn't work out that much, so you helped me, and hours later I somehow figured out that I have to reduce the shoulder pieces, add a lot of material at the waist, at the bust line, reduce a lot at the waistline, and add a lot at the hip line again. So
and I remember that the armholes were really small, so you did cut into the side seam that wasn't a side seam, but then you decided to add one.
Yeah, exactly. Yeah. The armholes, I think, in circumference they're now twice as big also. So I don't know what happened with this pattern. If I'm pretty sure I didn't print it wrong, so every piece should have this size as they were intended, but something went wrong with this pattern, in my opinion. So now that I have a blouse that fits, I can build on it because I really love this shape on myself. I really like the details. Probably I will make another blouse in the future which is similar to this one.
I love it's a thing for the 1940s, but also for the 1930s that you have really extravagant color shapes.
Mm-hmm.
And you could really exaggerate and make like very big ones to create a 1930s look, even though it's just a color piece, but just change the look.
That's true.
And that's really cool.
Reduce the size of the color pieces because for me they ended really unflattering almost directly on the bust point, which looked to me not flattering. Mm-hmm. So I changed the shape a little bit and made them shorter, but I think I could add again a little bit more and replace them so that they end, for example, more to the outside.
Or higher up.
But I didn't do that in this case because I did it the night before the event.
It's okay.
Yeah. So that is my blouse. What's about your blouse?
My blouse, I chose the simple way of having a blouse that existed before already, which is, I should have closed it, but it's a store-bought blouse, so I don't want to get into too much detail, but it's a blouse from the seamstress of Bloomsbury, which is a British brand which reproduces vintage-inspired garments. So most of their things are made from viscose fabric, like this one. It's really comfortable to wear. I wore it the whole day. It was fine. It fit me well. Yeah, there's not much else to say.
It's way thinner than I thought when I saw it on you.
Yeah, it's almost like a crepe fabric.
Yeah.
Cool. It's I'm not used to wearing these kind of very puffed sleeves. So I like to wear them when knitting jumpers. But for blouses, it has shoulder pads in it. It really makes really broad shoulders, which looked a bit unusual to me at first. And I don't really wear this one in daily life. I could, but maybe I will. But that was just, maybe I'll take off the shoulder pads and then it looks a bit more casual.
I really like the shoulder pads on you.
Yeah.
It really looks great.
But so. I feel like I already have quite broad shoulders and then it even exaggerates my shoulders and yeah. But maybe one day, maybe with the fitting on garments, that pants or skirts.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Can one remove them easily?
I think so.
So you could take them out and put them in again. So
yeah, I could do that. They are sewn in at 4 places. There are 4 seams, so I could just easily take it off. Yeah. I do have a few other garments from this brand, and all of them, the dresses and blouses, have shoulder pads in it. For one dress, it's fine, but for the other one, it also looks like I have really broad shoulders.
Okay, interesting.
So, yeah. That's my blouse. Let's go on with the ones that we have made ourselves. So
1 second before that, I also wore a knitted tie, not knitted, crochet tie, which I got as a gift, with a little pin, which is the Land Women's Army. I don't know if it's a reward pin, but the ladies wore them with in official context when there was a parade or an event. They wore these little pins.
But it's not the one that you brought today.
No, that is another one. The one I wore at the event was borrowed, and after that I felt like, yeah, if I want to go to another event, wear this outfit again, I want to wear this pin again, so I bought one myself. And now we too have these pin too, so we can go even more in style.
Accurate, yeah. I remember that we were talking about buying the cravat. No, ties is the English word.
Yeah.
Ties. There are some reproduction ties that are looking just like the Landgard's ties, but we decided against it, I think, because of fees, of shipping fees and
import fees.
And this would have been a tie that I wouldn't have worn for anything else than for this outfit.
Yeah.
So it didn't feel like it was worth it for me personally, but I really love your tie, and making a crocheted one or a knitted one is really a good idea.
Yeah.
I think.
It gives this little bit of extra, even if it's not the correct one. It makes the whole look looking more correct.
Yeah.
And maybe if we decide to wear this outfit more often, we could decide to, as a group, buy them and then have less of the fees. But in this situation, I mean, we weren't even sure if we liked the outfit at that point.
Yeah.
So
just in a way.
Yeah. And now we know because we really liked being around in the outfits. And how did Kadi say it? It's the most casual outfit for an event you can have.
So as a joke, we were joking that from now on we only sewing and wearing workers' outfit because they are the most comfortable.
Yeah, exactly.
We won't be doing that, but yeah, it was fun to say it like this.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we move on to the vest. As it was a summer event, it was in the beginning of June. We wanted to have a more lighter outfit that we wouldn't die in because of the heat. So we decided not to make jumpers with full-length arms, but vests like this one. Yeah, so in this case, I created a knitting pattern with an Excel sheet, which made it easier to grade for you. So I made it in a way that you only have to enter your measurements, and then it gave out the amount of stitches you needed to actually make this vest. As we didn't have much time, I created the sheet, and then I gave it to you before actually making my version, which I wouldn't normally do. But as we ran out of time, I gave it to you directly. So there were a few mistakes here and there that we had to fix.
But they weren't that big.
Yeah, you didn't have to rip off all the vest, so it was fine. Yeah, so it's a simple vest with ribbing at the bottom. And what I did, because I find it really flattering, is to have your waist, the stitches, the amount of stitches for your waist normally, and then you would increase in this area to get to your bust measurement, to really have a stitched in waist rather than having increases at the side. Mm-hmm. Okay, so what I did is to have the knit stitches of the ribbing flow into the knit stitches of this half-brioche pattern. So I didn't add any increases here, and I also didn't want to add any increases at the side. But this ribbing behaves very differently to this brioche pattern. So brioche knitting patterns grow a lot horizontally. So I played a bit with the measurements and decided to just go with the properties of the knit stitches. So this width is your bust measurement, and then this just cinches in at the waist simply because it's a ribbing instead of a brioche pattern. This doesn't work for all shapes and sizes, but in this case it did work fine, I'd say, for us three. Yeah. And then you knit just to the armholes, and then you separate for every piece for the V neck, and then you do it for the front and the back, and then you add some ribbing at the armholes and the neckline. So it's quite a simple pattern, I'd say.
Yeah.
Yeah, and in the end, I think you, Kati, and you finished first before me, because at some point I was a bit frustrated with the pattern. So, yeah, in the end you were faster than me, but that was funny. Yeah.
I really had a lot of fun knitting it. So this is mine. Mm-hmm. It's in darker green because this green I had already in stash. And at this time I didn't think that much about making it the outfit historically accurate. I wanted to try things that I would wear in everyday wear too. So especially for the pants and for the vest too. So I had this green already, and I followed the knitting pattern without any troubles. I just made some personal changes because for me, this part was way too long. I don't know why. Or I definitely knit looser than Clara does. And
you compare I don't know if it shows in the camera, but yeah, what I did also, I forgot to mention, is that you add in the Excel sheet your personal gauge and your measurement, and then it calculates the stitches.
Yeah.
So you don't have to meet a certain gauge because ours is quite different.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And so mine was at least that part longer, and I didn't like it on me. When I put it on, I looked like, I don't know, I was 20 pounds heavier than I am, because it ended so low. It didn't make a nice waist where the waistband should sit. It ended where I'm the widest. So in a rather annoying decision, I had already finished the entire garment. I decided I want to shorten it, but I don't want to knit the whole upper part again, which would have been easier and faster, I think. But I cut out a row around the middle, then removed that much I have knitted and re-sewed it back together. It took me, I think, 10 hours to figure out how to sew it back together. because sewing back together a brioche pattern isn't easy. But you can't see it at all, so
yeah, I think the reason why it was so long, because I calculated in the pattern that the waist starts at the point where the ribbing ends, so where you go to the brioche knitting pattern. But I wanted to have kind of a slope that it doesn't lay straight on your body, but that it slopes at the waist a bit to even accentuate your waist even more. So, but in your case, that was too much.
Yeah.
Maybe.
And yeah, I think it would have worked, but it's just a thing I didn't like on my body.
Yeah, everybody's different.
Yeah. So I changed that, and I think my shoulder straps are a little wider than yours.
That's also calculated based on your shoulder width.
Yeah. So I apparently have wider shoulders than you.
Maybe.
Yeah, so these were very comfy to wear and not too hot. Yeah, that's why I really love this vest. I don't think I would have wanted to wear a pullover at that day, but the vest was perfect.
We did a great decision there.
Yeah.
We took a great decision.
Yeah, absolutely. Yeah. And it was a lot of fun to knit. I really liked the knitting process.
Me too. It's really motivating to have a group project. I mean, this is why these kinds of knit-alongs are very famous.
Yeah.
In the internet world, because you have so many people working on the same projects. You can help yourself when there are things that are unclear, or just to motivate each other. Yeah.
Absolutely.
We will definitely do this again in any other way. We'll see. Yeah. Next project next thing we want to present are the pants.
Yeah.
Do you want to start?
Yeah. Let's start with the pants. So these are the pants. My pants, which is color-wise too dark. They should be beige or light brown. But as I said, I made the decision to sew something I would wear in everyday life, which I already did. I'm mostly wearing them for hiking because they're really comfy, and for train riding or riding a train for long distance trains, whatever, because they're easier to go to the toilet with than a skirt, at least when you're in a train. So that's why I chose the darker color. So we divided tasks a little bit, and I found a pattern from someone who made a historical reconstruction of pants they had at hand, and I used that to recreate the pattern and grade them for each of us individually. So basically you have a waistband, two front pieces, back pieces, and the really cool pockets in the front.
They are huge.
Yeah. You can store, or I can store my phone.
The book that we showed earlier, the landmarks book, I wore it with me during the event.
And I don't know, I think at a hike I've just for fun put in a water bottle. So
looks really nice.
They are really handy, and yeah, also comfy to wear actually. For my pants, I had the problem that the fabric didn't hold up to the strain. I wore the pants 4 times, and already this is the corduroy fabric.
Out of which material?
Cotton. It's complete, as I have the rule to only use fabrics which are 100% natural fibers. So I did that too, and in the past they were made of cotton too, but the corduroy was bigger. This is it's called baby corduroy, so the little lines are smaller, and the hairs, fibers, which are standing out, they were rubbed off. So I only had the base fabric, which was transparent in some areas around the crotch line, around the crotch, yeah. So I decided to sew in some leather patches to reinforce that, and also because leather doesn't fray, so the edges don't have to be bulky. I can just sew over them and they are finished. It was a little bit tricky to sew them in after the garment was already finished. But I think I will wear them like this and probably make another version in the lighter brown with a thicker corduroy to make it historically accurate and also hopefully more sustainable. And
did you just apply the leather on top of the other fabric, or did you cut the other fabric?
I applied it on top of it.
Okay. Have you worn it like this already?
Only for testing. If it still fits, it does. I will probably wear it next weekend when we are hiking again, and then I will see if it actually worked. The one thing I haven't properly thought about is how to wash it now, because it's leather, and yeah, that I probably will have to wash it as a hand wash, but it's still better than throwing it away, so I will go with that. And yeah, then the last part of these pants are the cuffs, which are like that. They end below the knee and are tied, so that you have a lot of volume around the
your upper legs,
and as little as possible below your knee. Yeah. So this gives these typical shape of the time with the wide hips and the very small cuffs. So that are my pants, and as I said, Clara did her own version of it.
Exactly. So in this case, we swapped tasks. So you created the pattern, you digitalized the sewing pattern, and then the other friend and I gave you our measurements. So I think just the waist measurement for me, I think.
Waist and hip.
Okay. And then you graded the pattern for me, and I must say I did a mock-up first, and it fit perfectly. So I did have to change some things, but in the end, the general shape really fit, and I just took it the way it was. It was a really nice sewing experience in this case because everything worked out like it should have. I really love the pocket situation, I must say, because first of all, they are huge, and the way they are built into the trousers and into the waistband, so the waistband expands at the sides, and then comes the pocket, so the pocket fabric that I used. One thing that I did change is every waistband piece is lined, so this is the lining of the front piece, and for the back piece, I made one lining because I think the button bands, there was one piece and then there was one piece for the waist for the back. I made it into one piece and then I made it like this, so it is shorter in the center back, and then it grows up and it grows and makes its way into the, I don't know if you can see, I will open it up. Just to have less fabric layers in the sides, because that's really like already due to the button bands and the buttons and the buttonholes that all creates a lot of volume. I did change that. And for my fabric, I used one that the other friend and I bought in a store. I think it is it has some polyester content in it, which made it a bit more difficult to iron. So I couldn't use the full force of my iron to iron the seams. So what I did is that I stitched along every seam to make it flat. And I think that's also a nice detail that looks, a bit more neat than having creased lines and seams. That's not so beautiful, I'd say. Yeah, and then just as your pants, there are some cuffs which are tied together. Yeah.
And for a comparison, I have the two different fabrics for the button band, and it created a lot of bulk, but my fabric is thinner. So this was equalized, I say. And I think you also closed this part here, which was in my case then not possible. And I had the idea only at once. I had already sewn everything together, so that's mostly the case, the reason why.
But I also did this in the end. I just stitched it as a top stitch. I had to stitch it down because there was an opening. I think there wasn't the plan to add any buttons here because then it would interfere with the pocket. So I just sewed it as a top stitch. Yeah. Because then otherwise there would have been a gap.
Yeah. There is a gap, obviously. But in my case, I need this because my hips are really wide, and in order to get the pants over my hips, I need the width of opening it up that wide. So that's also a reason why I didn't close it.
Maybe you can add press buttons.
Yeah, but usually it doesn't open up that much. If I sit down and do not just, I don't know, it's now a movement for me. I do just when I sit down with these pants, I just push the sides down and then they're closed again. That's the only time when they gap open. So I could add them, maybe I will do it, but since they are mostly my hiking pants, I will use them mostly walking. So yeah, it was
a really nice sewing process. And I find these kinds of pants just so flattering because of the wide hips. Then it accentuates your lower, like your knees and your lower
calves.
What?
The calves?
If that's how you call it, yeah. And also your waist. So I just like the silhouette a lot, which is why I really wanted to make this project.
Yeah.
And I'd love to make myself another version for daily wear because it's quite an extreme pattern.
Yeah.
So like for work or something, I would love to make myself a version which is not that, maybe in another color that's a bit more toned down and also less voluminous at the at your hips, and maybe also without this kind of the English words for cuff. Maybe without this kind of tying, but maybe use a zipper or something. To make it a bit more
modern,
appropriate for work, for example, or for daily wear.
Because they really scream 1940s workwear.
Yeah.
Like in 1930s, 1940s, these were mostly the pants worn for horse riding,
sports
in general, and work, like farm work. And when you're used to this kind of images, the silhouette just transports that still. And I think I took already a little bit of volume out of the pattern because we all say that's too much for our modern way of seeing it. And we wanted to feel flattering after all. We don't put that much time into a project to not feel flattering, usually at least.
We'd love to use it, to wear it for another event. And also, we got a lot of feedback that day. There were a lot of people, surprisingly a lot of people, in my opinion. I wouldn't have thought that there would have been so many people giving compliments.
Yeah.
Because in the end, it's not the most extravagant outfit. There were many people wearing 18th century gowns with a lot of fabric and a lot of extravagant hairstyles. And we were just very casual in a way, but still it made some kind of impact because in the front of us and we wore the same outfits. We bought the same fabric, we used the same yarn, so everybody saw that we were a group of 3 walking around in the same costume. But it was really fun.
Yeah, definitely.
Really nice.
I also found it really interesting how many people asked. It was an event where many different eras were present. So the most common question was, in which era are you? What time are you from? Most of the people were somewhat correct with 1940s or around that. So it was recognizable. And I really liked this experience.
Yeah.
Okay, so then we have one last garment, I guess. Do you want to start? Because I don't know where I have put mine right now.
So what's also typical for this garment is to wear some kind of socks, like knee-high socks. Maybe let's start with yours, because first of all, I think you bought some before making some.
I bought some, but I have the problem that even with the biggest size of knee-high or longer socks, they're too small for me. I have apparently really wide calves. I don't know. I get the problem that they stop the blood circulation, and my feet get really cold, and I don't like that. So no. And I wanted to knit something more, so I decided I'm going to knit the socks too. And I did it. I think just in time, also 2 days before I started with the blouse or something like that. And these are also based on a pattern from Weldon's. So they had a magazine for patterns, especially for wartime knitwear, I think, or gowns in general, so that you have, since socks were also a little bit of a problem, so they had to really fit without creating wounds. And this is one of their patterns, and they have a little bit of a checkered pattern up here. This part would be folded over like that and lay over the cuff part of the pants. Then you have the ribbing down the heel with the shaping at the one side. A really interesting knee solution, I think. You knit first this part of the heel. Heel solution. You knit first this part of the heel and then restart knitting. No, then you start this little part here. You have to knit this part here, a little triangle, and then you start at this part again and knit like so, or like this whole thing.
But isn't that a typical heel shape for socks?
I knitted completely differently.
I think I've knitted socks like this before.
Yeah. Interesting. I know a completely different way of knitting heels.
Okay. Yeah, I mean, there are many ways.
Yeah. And yeah, then in the end you'll end up with, I think, 18 stitches in my case, and you just graft them together and you have a really great sock. The only thing I did mess up again was this sock was shorter than the other, I think by 18 rows. And that annoyed me so much that I opened this up, knitted a couple of rows and sewed it back together. It also took me 10 hours to sew it back together because, I don't know, sewing...
Yeah, it's always complicated. Also, it stresses you out a lot. Like having loose stitches and then it stresses me out.
Yeah. I did it on a train, right? I was, I think, 6 hours in a train and then another 2 hours at home to finish it up. I was pretty annoyed, but in the end they were perfect for the day. And when I washed them, I accidentally stained them blue, which completely threw me.
That was after the event.
That was after the event, and I was so heartbroken. I really cried about it. Because there were blue stains. Like now, I washed them afterwards and did everything I could to remove the color, which worked. At least they don't have any stains anymore. They're just bluish now. I don't like it, but I still hope that when I wash and wear them a couple of times, this blue stain will disappear. If not, I will dye them gray. I've decided.
Yeah.
But first I will try to wash them a couple times to get this blue-ish.
I mean, you can try to very lightly bleach it. There are products that brighten up your garments. Maybe that would be a solution.
Yeah. Here at the foot, you see it's still a little bit. There are some stains. So
you don't see them.
Yeah, they're in the shoe. But the biggest one were really in front, like center front on the leg. So yeah, in the end it worked out to save them. But in the first couple of moments I was just so heartbroken because I put so much time and effort in it. And I was really proud of them. I don't know why, but that's a
frustrating story. But in the end, you still have beautiful socks, even if they're have a lighter blue undertone.
Yeah, and I definitely would knit them again because I don't have any problems with circulation or something with those because they are made. I graded them from the original pattern. I recalculated everything to fit my calves because they would have been too small for me if I had done the original pattern. So I think that's why I'm so proud of them because it worked out. The math worked out. Everything around it didn't, but the math did. Yeah, so those were my socks. What about yours?
Mine were, again, like the blouse, they were bought. But these were the kinds of socks that I had in my wardrobe for maybe 10 years, and I didn't even wear them once. I was at the point where I would have given them away. But then for this kind of costume, it made sense to use them. So they are just long, knee-high socks. They were originally very bright in a white tone. So they were white. But as that didn't fit very much to the costume, I wanted to dye them. But I didn't have any commercial dye. I wanted to buy one, but I didn't find it in the right color. And this kind of material, I thought it was cotton because it has a very dry feel to it. But I feel there's some kind of chemical fiber in it. Which it was a very experimental thing that I just did 2 days before the event, I decided to dye with coffee.
Ooh.
Yeah. It worked it kind of worked, but then I let them dry, and you still see some stains at the places where there was the fold of the cuff. So I put them in acid first to open up the fibers in order to make the dye, the coffee, go into the fibers. I let it I put them in the coffee for at least an hour, and then I wringed it out, washed it out, and then I dried them. And then on the next day, it was the day before the event, it had like really long stripes of darker color at the fold line of the socks.
Ah.
So I washed it out again, and as it was coffee and not some sort of other dye or commercial dye in a way, it did wash out. So I did it again, and then I let it dry again, and then changed the fold line of the sock a few hours. So it's just a solution just for the event, but it doesn't work in the long run. I haven't washed them since because I was also afraid that it would bleed onto other garments when I would put them together. So I need to wash them separately, wash it out, and maybe dye them with some real dye in the future.
Yeah.
But for this event, it worked fine. Yeah, and I did wear them, so
it's a really cool idea. Yeah. You didn't tell that when we were there.
No.
I like the idea.
I mean, it's quite common to use coffee and black tea also to dye things. Mm-hmm. But I think you'd have to do it a bit more professionally with more math involved when it comes to... I did use some acid, but I didn't have that much left, so I only used it once, and then I didn't have anything left anymore. So it was more of an experimental thing, nothing impressive. So all the dyers out there would probably go like this. I don't know. But it worked for this occasion.
I mean, that's the most important.
Yeah.
Really cool.
Yeah.
I like that.
Thank you very much. Yeah, that were our costumes. Yeah. As I said, we had a lot of fun. And we will definitely make this kind of group costume in the future.
Yeah.
Yeah.
We also already have some ideas swirling around what it could be. And but we didn't plan anything really yet.
We have still some time.
Yeah.
Next year.
Yeah. Unless we want to do anything in between.
Yeah, of course we will. Yeah.
And yeah. So I think that's it for this episode.
It was kind of a special episode, and for the next time we will go through more of the classic formats. And yeah, so see you until next time. Bye.